What's up, guys? Want to give a big shout out to Swing City, Bowling Green, Kentucky. We are live from Swing City here in Bowling Green, Kentucky. We're in their VIP room, guys, and this is a perfect room for any party, any get together. Want to have some private work with the boys, get some good golf in. This is the space to do it. Check this place out. I'm gonna give you a little tour. We got a flat screen in here. Got the TrackMan, of course, the big oversized screen with a ton of room. Even got 2 putting holes in here to practice putting. Come check them out. Great food, great people, great vibes right here at Swing City in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Welcome to episode number 16 of From the Bunker podcast. As always, guys, thank you so much for all the support, all the listens. Last week was another banger. Big shout out to Miss Kelly Rudney for coming on, the Women's World Long Drive Champion, and Mr. Forwright Sorry for co-hosting with me. It was a epic episode, and you guys responded, and I appreciate all the love and support. And I hope you enjoyed this one as much as you did the last one, because we got a banger coming up for you. As always, guys, I first want to mention to you that this episode in particular is brought to you by none other than 4Golf Apparel. We've actually got another 4Golf Apparel giveaway up, along with a From the Bunker hoodie giveaway, both on the From the Bunker TikTok page. Go check those out. But as always, guys, if you want some apparel that won't break the bank, but that you can wear everywhere, fit in, have some style, even stand out if you want to, look no further than 4golfapparel.com. Use code From the Bunker at checkout for 10% off, and it lets them know that I sent you. We appreciate 4Golf and everything that they've done for From the Bunker. We have some big announcements coming in the near future, so make sure you're tuning in every week. Let's get right to it, guys. One of the best, if not the best. It's not the best because Augusta's the best, but one of the best weekends in golf was this weekend, and that's the Waste Management Open, and it did not disappoint. If you watched it, you already know it was exciting. It was epic. The fans were wild, and the play was even wild. I mean, Scotty Scheffler comes out first day +2, finishes the weekend 1 off the lead at 15 under, tied for third. What an epic performance by Scotty. He's the best golfer alive right now. There's just no doubt about it. In a 4-day tournament. Now, one-on-one, Ryder Cup method, something like that, we can debate it. But as far as a 4-day, 72-hole PGA event, there's not a better golfer in the world right now than Scotty Scheffler. Chris Goddard wins for the second time in 2026. He won the Sony Open in Hawaii. He comes back and grinds it out. Was luck on his side? More than likely. But he hung around just enough to force a playoff with Matsuyama. Matsuyama just had a bad break. Fans talking crap, making him back off the ball, missed a terrible putt 2 times. Really. I mean, just missed 2 putts, and that's what it come down to. Chris hit his in the playoff, and Matsuyama didn't. So it was a fun watch, and the best part about it for me, no disrespect to Chris or what they did, but there's not a better story than Scotty. I mean, if he shot even par on day 1 instead of +2, which, by the way, was like his first plus round in a PGA Tour event in like the last 36 events or something insane like that, or 36 rounds, whatever it was, something to do with 36 and Scotty Scheffler not shooting over par. So if he even if he would have shot 1 over on day 1, he would have been in that playoff and probably would have beat both of them the way he was playing. It was a epic show. Something else to mention about that event, our boy Neil Shipley comes up and finally makes his first cut on the PGA Tour this year. Big shout out to Neil. Last thing on the PGA Tour is Pebble Beach, guys. Pebble Beach this weekend, the AT&T Pro-Am, another great tournament down at Pebble Beach. The boys will be back. Make sure y'all are watching that. But speaking of Neil Shipley, let's shift over to the TGL right quick. They actually just got done playing a little bit ago, and history was made. Neil Shipley comes in as an alternate for somebody that couldn't be there for the Bay and winds up hitting the first ever TGL hole-in-one from 110 yards out. Just a ripper spinner back into the hole. Amazing shot. Love to see this for Neil. Gets him going a little bit, gets him some confidence playing with the boys. So watch out for Neil. Shipley makes a cut, goes to the TGL and performs well. I'm just saying, keep your eyes on the boy. The Bay wins big, guys. The Bay wins big. They take down LA 11-5. Tommy Fleetwood and them go down. Tony Finau's on that team. And speaking of Tony, he falls right back off and misses another cut. But what a epic weekend of golf wrapped up on this beautiful Monday night here in Kentucky, where we had 65-degree temperatures today and supposed to be 70 tomorrow. And hopefully I'm out on the golf course while you're listening to this. All right, guys, the first big announcement that I've got for you guys is we've got a new co-host. And this is his first episode. And I've mentioned him a lot on this podcast, talked about him basically since the second episode. Breaking 80 Golf joins the From the Bunker family as a co-host with me. Super excited to bring in Craig, a.k.a. Breaking 80 Golf. If you don't follow him, go follow him. But we sit down for our first interview together, and we actually did this in person, which was super cool. Big shout out to Swing City up in Bowling Green, Kentucky. They hosted us in their VIP room, let us film the podcast from there. And we had on a professional golf caddy, guys, a guy that left corporate America to go chase his dream at 40 plus years old. It's an amazing story. And I'm super happy to have Craig join me to make this his first episode. He is going to be a regular co-host, the regular co-host. Okay. So y'all be ready to learn more about Craig. He will be on the intros most of the time, but he does have a family and things like that. So sometimes he might miss little bitty things, but he will be part of the podcast regularly now. So one clap for Mr. Craig, or golf clap, if you will. And then lastly, guys, just before I let you listen to Mr. Ryan Murray and hear about going to chase your golf passion and dream, just want to mention the Super Bowl was last night. The Patriots went down. I told you the Patriots were going to win. I was wrong. I can admit that. The Seattle Seahawks put on a hell of a performance. The defense played absolutely amazing. Patriots couldn't get really anything going, and they win 29-13. Shout out to Jalen Milroe and the Seattle Seahawks for being Super Bowl champions. Seriously, congrats to the Quails. This team's about to go up for sale. Be the first NFL team ever to win the Super Bowl and then get put up for sale in the same year. And I believe that is going to happen. But not a football show. We are a golf show. And here's the deal. Enjoy this episode with me, Breaking 80 Golf, our new co-host here on From the Bunker, and Ryan Murray. Guys, real quick, before we get into the episode, I just want to talk to you about the Small Creator Scramble. Now, this is a scramble built by small creators, but is for any and everyone. And it's coming up faster than we think. We're about 2 months away. It's April 18th at Crosswinds in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Now, if you want to sign up, the link will be down in the description wherever you're getting this podcast. It is a charity event. The money's going to be donated to First Tee of Kentucky and Cody B. Frankie of 4 Play Golf and the PGA is Memorial Fund. So if you want to play or you want to sponsor and anything like that, check out the link down in the description and help support an amazing event. Enjoy this episode. Guys, welcome to episode number 16 of From the Bunker podcast. Today's guest is Ryan Murray. He's a professional caddy who left corporate America to start working his way through the professional ranks of caddying and is now chasing the PGA Tour to be on the bag at 42 years old and looking awful young for 42. He's worked Corn Ferry Tour events, live the week to week grind and recently started sharing the work life of a caddy on social media. This episode isn't about swings or trophies, guys. It's about reinventing yourself, pressure, and what it really takes to try to make it in golf later in life. Ryan, welcome to From the Bunker, buddy.
Thank you guys so much, man. I appreciate you having me on, and hopefully we can have a little bit of fun today.
Absolutely, man. We appreciate you coming on. Just a quick story. This guy's world class. So if you're not following him, go follow him. All his links are down in the bio below, wherever you're getting this podcast. But I literally just found him on social media, scrolling reels, seen some of his stuff, followed him. And I was like, man, wouldn't it be epic to have a pro caddy on the podcast? Reached out to him within 24 hours, I would say, maybe even 3 hours. He responded to me and was more than willing to do it. So, really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you, brother. We're going to jump right into it. I mean, for the people who really don't understand golf, how do you explain what you're doing right now?
Oh man, um, I'd say the way that I would describe it is the cliche phrase of like living my dream, but I'd say like a more fun way of describing it is flying by the seat of my pants and just kind of taking it one week at a time.
I heard that. I know it's got to be a grind just from watching some of your videos, especially like this past 2 weeks where you were down in the Bahamas and, we're looking for a golfer to work with. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot that goes into that, a lot of pressure on your end, like worrying about trying to have to find somebody to work with week to week, right?
Yeah, there is, and I don't want to downplay that at all, but I will kind of add to that and just say that I'm extremely fortunate that I'm in a position where I have a super loving and supportive wife that has my back 100%. And I also have the understanding and the realization that if it doesn't work out, like I can always go back to working a normal job if I have to. So for me, there's the pressure and the stress and like the anxiety of, am I going to get hired? Am I not going to get hired? Because I really want to do it like really badly. And it's incredibly fun and I love doing it. But at the end of the day, like, dude, I can go get a job doing anything anytime I want. So like, I don't have the stress of like, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do with myself? Which is really, really nice. And I think that just comes with, the added benefit of being 42 and having already had like an accomplished career for 25 years in my life. So I don't have to carry that burden on my shoulders, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And make sure to clip that and send it to your wife. That'll get you some brownie points for sure.
But you can't see it. She's actually standing behind the camera, like holding a knife right now. So like, I'm just kidding.
I've seen a bunch of those videos on the internet, so I believe it. And guys, just real quick to let y'all know, we're at Swing City Golf in Bowling Green, Kentucky, doing this podcast live. Me and Craig are in their VIP room here. Big shout out to Swing City for having us out. They do an incredible job here. They got TrackMan technology, great food, great people, great place. Y'all come check it out, but big shout out to them. So this is our first time going mobile and got our biggest guest so far on. Let me ask you this, man. What does a normal week in your life look like at this stage?
Yeah, that's a great question. But a normal week as a caddy on the Corn Ferry Tour, the tournaments are going to start on Thursday and then they're always going to end on Sunday. So generally speaking, if I have to travel or fly or drive to a location, I'm going to try to get there the night on Sunday night. And the reason I do that is because registration for us always opens up on Monday morning at 7 a.m. So if I get there the night before, then I can get a good night's sleep and then I can be where I need to be for the next day on Monday. And then I'll head to the course, usually between 7 and 9 a.m. that first day on a Monday. I'll get registered. So I'll go to the credential office at the golf course that the tour puts in place. And, you log in on an iPad, what's your name, your phone number, your email, who's the golfer that you're working for. They give you your credentials. So they'll give us like, see if I can get it to focus. We'll get these credentials. It's different every week, but like the big numbers on the side right here, they tell you like what areas of the golf course you have access to, what areas you don't have access to. You get like a credential number and then you get your yardage book, which I can always show you one of those if you wanted me to. But once I get my yardage book, I always get like a pin. They give us a sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper with the pin locations for that tournament the previous year. That way, when we go scout the greens and when we go on the golf course to prepare, we have a really good idea of where the hole is going to be cut on the green. And for anybody that's not really crazy involved with golf and you're maybe just like a casual fan, every golf course, the way the greens are built for professional tournaments, there are only like a handful of locations on these green complexes where they could even cut a hole if they wanted to. So if it's a tournament that plays at a location over and over and over every year, the holes are always going to be in that same spot. If I get a pin sheet and it says hole number 1 on round 1, the hole is 17 yards on and 5 paces off the right. That doesn't mean that's exactly where it's going to be this year, but it does mean that like somewhere in that general area within a few paces, like that's where the hole's going to be. So then when we get out on the greens for practice rounds, the players have an area where they can practice hitting putts or practice hitting chip shots to those areas so they can get an idea of how the ball's going to roll, what breaks there are, how the ball's going to spin if they're hitting a chip shot. If they're hitting a shot out of a bunker, how's that going to react? So they're able to do all that kind of stuff. And, you know, as caddies, what we'll do is we'll take like either a golf tee, or we have these like little pucks that simulate a golf hole that are like 4 inches in diameter. And we'll just either stick a tee in the ground in that area where the hole is going to be, or we'll throw one of those pucks down. And then that's what the players are using as their targets when they're trying to putt or chip into those greens. So then once I get checked in, I get my credentials, get my yardage book. I always walk the course by myself. I walk all 18 holes, and I'm just taking notes. Like I'll stand on the tee box. Sometimes I'll take photos with my phone of what the hole looks like off of the tee. That way, when I go and make notes in my yardage book, if I feel like drawing some kind of an image on my yardage book to say like, you know, aim at this cell phone tower, or let's aim between these two trees, I can draw things in the yardage book to just give me those references so it's easier for me when I'm on the course. And then I'm taking notes about what the green complexes look like. Look at wind forecasts, so I'll take a look and see like what the wind is projected to do for us throughout the week to get an idea of like, okay, there's 18 holes we have to play, but 9 of them we're going to be playing into the wind for the majority of the week. So like, how do we prepare for those kinds of things? And all of that is like Monday morning, dude. Like that's Monday morning into Monday afternoon. And then, you know, if the guy that I'm working for that week is in town and he's there on that Monday and wants to practice, then it's all right, let's go to the range, let's get warmed up, let's go to the putting green. And then are we going to play 9 holes today? Or are we going to play 18 holes today? And then we go from there.
That's awesome. That sounds like a complete, absolute brutal grind. And from, you know, following you on social media, you know, I've seen what you do. And I mean, it's crazy. Y'all put in a crap ton of work that a lot of people don't even think about that goes into a weekly tournament. So that's awesome. I actually was lucky enough to volunteer at the Simmons Bank Open last year, and I was a walking store at Vanderbilt Legends. You might have been there, not sure, but
Yeah, I was carrying the bag for a player named Run Uprayong. He's from Thailand.
oh,
But yeah, I was there
awesome.
the whole week.
That well, we were in the same place and didn't even know it.
Yeah.
But I was with Sebastian. What was it?
Sebastian Kaplan.
Yes, I was with him, but I seen one of those pin sheets that you're talking about at the 10th hole and the first hole there under the little tent with the pencils and the scorecards and all that stuff. So it was a super cool experience. The caddies were super, super nice to me, and so were the players. Like they both gave me a ball when they're playing ball. When they got done, come up, shook my hand, thanked me. So it was a great time. I'm looking forward to going back this year.
Real fast on that. When you're doing the scouting on the courses, can you use certain apps as well, like the Grit or anything like that, to where you can get an aerial view of the course, or are you not allowed to use that type of stuff?
Yeah, so technically there are apps that we can use and there are things that we can use during practice rounds. To be fair though, like the only thing that I'm going to look at when I'm on the golf course like that is just like wind forecast and some other weather forecast stuff. But using like the Grint or Gin or 18 Birdies or any of those kinds of apps, I don't need to use those because I'm literally standing on the golf course. So
Yeah.
I guess it could come in handy if I was like there are a lot of times where I'm trying to take notes on blind shots. So if it's a blind tee shot or if it's a blind shot into the green and trying to understand what angle we need to take or what target we need to take, I guess I could use it in those scenarios. But for me personally, it just helps to like look at the golf course and be standing there myself.
I got you.
Great question, by the way, Craig.
And Josh, going back to your comment about being like a big grind, I'll say it like this. You guys are sitting at Swing City right now. You guys are at a golf simulator, like indoor golf simulator place. Imagine that your entire job for 6 straight days was to just walk into Swing City and hit golf balls into a screen all day long. Like, would you ever feel like that was a grind?
No, I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
If I got paid to do anything in golf, I would be pretty satisfied.
Yeah. So for me, for 6 straight days, I get to spend all my time inside the ropes. I get to spend all my time on the playing field. I get to spend all my time on the basketball court. You know what I mean? Like I'm right there. I'm in the heart of it. I get to walk on the greens. I get to, see what the grass conditions are like. I'll never get sick of it. And it's never a grind. Like it's so much fun, dude. Like I'm just a big kid out there having a blast.
I love that. And I feel where you're coming from because, like, for me, even, I mean, I drove an hour and a half, got up at 4 in the morning just for a chance to, you know, walk and volunteer. I mean, I got paid zero, which I got a badass polo, a hat, whatever. But it was a just amazing experience. And I would have done it all 4 days if they would have wanted me, for free, you know. So I get that. And same thing like with the podcast or with content, just to touch on that, some days I'm up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning getting this podcast ready to come out and be perfect and whatever. Same thing with my content, we go above and beyond to try to make good content. So I love that too. And as much as I put into it, it never feels like work at all because it's, something that you love. So I think that'll help you. I think somebody that has that passion, you know what I mean? Having that passion for something like that is priceless. Is priceless.
And I'll say too, from a caddy's perspective, we love having volunteers out on the golf courses for the tournaments. The walking scores are usually super awesome. Depending on how our day is going, we're going to be more interactive and more talkative. And then other days we're just going to leave you guys alone and we're going to be focused on our own world. But I would say to anybody that happens to listen to this, if you ever have an opportunity to go be a volunteer at a Korn Ferry Tour golf tournament in specific, you should absolutely do it because these are literally some of the best golfers on planet Earth. And you get to watch them from inside the ropes if you're a walking score, or you get to watch them like firsthand right next to them. And I can also say that there are a lot of tournaments that we go to where there are not enough volunteers and we could use more for sure. Having people that are spotters up in the fairway on par fives that can tell us that the group in front of us is out of the way or in the way so that we're not hitting into them or we're not just standing on the tee box for 5 minutes wasting time when we could have already hit because we can't see that the group in front of us is gone. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you're listening to this and you have any interest in doing it and there's a golf tournament on the Korn Ferry Tour that comes anywhere remotely close to your city, I would highly recommend that you go volunteer because it's super fun. You guys get fed free food all day long. Oh, you can drink as much free water and soda and Gatorade and whatever, like all day long. And then you get to meet some really cool people.
As somebody that did it, I only got the 1 day, but as somebody that did it, it was an absolute epic event. Everybody treated me like gold. I was thanked 1,000 times. And I'm like, don't thank me. Hell, I'm thanking y'all for letting me come. Like, this was the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Like, I just walked 8, which, by the way, was the first time I've ever walked 18 in my life. But, I'm not a very volunteer walker, if you will, but I was that day, baby, and it was just amazing to see. I mean, it was an absolute unbelievable experience that I never forget, and look forward to coming back to the Simmons Bank this year. And they, I think the Tennessee Golf Association, whatever, runs the volunteers for the Simmons Bank has now been asked to take over the Knoxville tournament as well. They had sent an email out, so I'm hoping to get out there this year as well. But let me ask you this. Does this still feel like a temporary chapter, or is it starting to feel like, you're building a career here?
It never felt like a temporary chapter for me. My mindset going into this was always like, this is what I want to do for the next 40 years of my life kind of a situation. maybe not 40 because I'm already old enough, but like at least for the next 20 years of my life.
What was golf like growing up in Scottsdale?
Oh man, dude, it's golf in Scottsdale is so freaking cool. There's just, I mean, there's almost a golf course every mile depending on what direction you're looking. So I was fortunate growing up out there. I had a lot of access to a lot of different golf courses. There's also a lot of, driving ranges that I had access to. So, anytime I wanted to go hit golf balls, I could pretty much go to a golf course within 5 or 10 minutes of my house, which was really nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's like around me. I live literally on a golf course. So it's like if I ever want to go practice or anything like that, I can literally just walk to the range if I need to. So having that access is awesome. Was golf serious early for you, or was it just something you did because it's where you lived?
No, golf was never serious for me when I was a kid. My grandfather passed away when I was really little. I think I was maybe only 3 years old or 2 years old when my grandfather passed away. But I always remember growing up, my mom used to always tell me about how much my grandfather used to love playing golf. He and my grandmother lived on a golf course in Sun City West in Arizona, if anybody's familiar with that spot. And, they had a golf cart. My grandfather played golf literally every single day. Apparently, he used to play golf with Chichi Rodriguez back in the day. Anybody that's a little bit older listening to this is going to probably know who Chichi is. He's the guy that used to make putts and he would swing his putter around like a sword and like throw it in a sheath on his side. Just full of character. But yeah, so when I was a kid growing up, I grew up playing baseball, actually. Baseball was like my heart. It was my passion. And to this day, now that I'm older, I look back and I think the only reason that I was so passionate about baseball was because my grandfather wasn't around. And I feel like if my grandfather had not passed away at such a young age for me, I probably would have grown up playing more golf as a kid than I did baseball because he probably would have wanted to do that with his grandson. I have to imagine, right? I first started picking up golf around the age of 10, and it wasn't until I was probably 18 to 21 years old that I actually started really taking it serious and playing more. So yeah, I never really played much golf as a kid. I think before I turned 18, I maybe only played a 18 hole round of golf like once or twice.
Did you ever picture yourself working in golf back in the day?
That's a good question. No, not golf specifically, but when I was younger, because I had such a huge background in golf, I had it in my head to be a professional I had such a big background in baseball. It was always in my head that I was going to become a professional baseball player. And then I hit an age where reality actually became reality. And I realized that that was not going to happen. I kind of shifted focus. And when I graduated high school and I went into college, I had the idea of still playing baseball, which quickly faded and turned into, I'm going to go to school to be a sports agent. And so I figured like, I knew I couldn't actually become a baseball player, but maybe I could become an agent or like a PR rep for professional athletes. And I thought that would be super cool. And so when I started exploring that avenue of a career path, I realized that in order to become a sports agent, you actually had to do law school because you have to be able to, write and manage contracts.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. And it may not, I don't know if you have to go to like the same amount of law school as you would to be like a defense attorney for a serial killer, but like you do have to have some law school in there in order to become a sports agent on that level. And so,
I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Not the brightest crayon in the box, but I'm still one of the crayons in the box, and I don't like school. So I quickly realized that like being a sports agent wasn't going to happen. And so then I was like, well, I like talking to people. I feel like I'm kind of charismatic and I enjoy that aspect of it. I can kind of spin things in certain ways. So I was like, maybe PR would be the next route. And then my third semester of college, so like the beginning of my second year of college, I realized how much I hated school. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to school anymore. Long-winded answer, but like, no, I never had a thought in my head of like working in the golf industry when I was younger.
Looking back now, what did Scottsdale give you as a golfer?
Year-round golf, being able to play in any month of the year, any day of the week, and very little rain. So like never having to worry about rain gear or bringing an umbrella or not being able to get on the golf course. So it really allowed me to play a lot of golf. Like when I started, when I was around that 18, 21 year age and I was starting to play golf real serious, I could literally play 4 times a week and never have an issue. So that's huge.
Yeah, that is huge, especially right now with the weather we got in Tennessee/Kentucky. Scottsdale's sounding pretty damn nice right about now, boys.
Yeah. I woke up, it was snowing again this morning. I was like, this is ridiculous. This was not on the brochure when I moved here.
Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely, man. It's been crazy. You spent almost 25 years, Ryan, in sales and consulting. When did that start to feel like this isn't for me. This isn't what I want to do. I'm 40, 42 years old. This ain't the life I want. When did you have that realization?
Yeah, the first company that I worked for, I stayed with for 16 years. So, from the time I was literally 18 years old until whatever that math is, 34? I worked with one company. And the last couple years of being with that company, I was starting to become more unhappy for sure. You can ask my wife, she'll absolutely support that. And it was a huge shift to like walk away from that and try to do something else because I had never known anything else as an adult. And at that point in my life, I was making more money than I had ever made in my entire life, more money than I ever thought that I would be making, and quite possibly like more than my parents ever made, more than my sisters. Like it was unbelievable. Like for all intents and purposes, I was living like what everybody thought would be the best life possible, and like it was awesome, right? But I was just so unhappy and so miserable, and so to walk away from that was like a scary thing. It was super nerve wracking. It was crazy stressful, but at the end of the day, it was also like, I can't continue to keep doing this. So I have to leave, and shifted very quickly to a similar, like another company within the same industry, basically. But instead of it being retail based, it was business to business based. So now instead of having to worry about like pleasing customers that are trying to buy stuff, it was more like, hey, I'm representing a company that's trying to help your company achieve success and like be better. And so it was a little bit more fresh. It was a lot more relaxed, and it was fun at first for the first few years for sure. But then again, like, it just got to a point where 6.5 years later of doing that, I just reached that point again where I was like, this is unfulfilling. This is not fun. Like, I'm not enjoying this anymore. I'm starting to get really stressed out at work again. I'm not doing something that I really love to do. So I have to walk away from this again. And at that point, that was when I was probably having like the biggest mental health issue. And that's where I was really starting to like, I don't think I've ever reached a point in my life where I would consider myself to have been depressed. And maybe a lot of people that actually are suffering from depression would say the same thing. And so I could have been depressed and just not wanting to accept it. I don't know. But I was starting to get super depressed. I was starting to get really angry all the time. I was starting to just be unhappy. I wasn't a good husband to my wife a lot of times, just the way that I would talk to her and treat her at home. She didn't deserve that. Not that it was like, I mean, it wasn't like horrible, right? But like from where I was to what I would become, it wasn't the same. And so I just looked at her and I was like, listen, I have to change again. I have to do something different. But I'm in such a bad place mentally right now. Like if I just quit this job and got another job, it's not going to help fix the problem. Like the problem that I have is like the mental health aspect. So I feel like the only way that I'm going to be able to move forward is to just walk away from work for an entire year. Like just give me 1 year to get away from having to have a job responsibility so that I can focus on getting my mentality back to where it needs to be, and I can like be happy again before I start going back to work again. And I was like, I just want to travel around the country. I just want to play golf everywhere I can. At that time, I was doing a lot of golf social media. I had over 50,000 followers on TikTok. I had followers on Instagram. I was doing like a golf podcast like you guys are doing right now. And I was like, if I go hard for a year on all the social media stuff and the podcast, like maybe I could turn that into a business, and maybe I can monetize that and I can start making some kind of an income. And then that would be the replacement for having to work a corporate job. And I was like, if, we agreed that I would get 12 months. And if in 12 months it wasn't monetized and I wasn't making money, then I would have to go back to work in a normal job. And thank you so much to my wife for allowing me to do that, because I think she saved me mentally more than anything else. But that was the moment where I really had it in my head that I wanted to start working in the golf industry. So as a kid, I never had a thought that I would work in the golf industry, but after doing the golf social media stuff for so many years and having that point to take that year off of corporate America, part of my objective with that year after getting my mind right was, if I'm going to go back to work, I want it to be in the golf space somehow. And hopefully by doing all the social media stuff and traveling around the country, I will be able to meet people that will be able to make that a reality for me. And it's kind of crazy how things work out, because that's exactly what happened.
When you were working in corporate America, did golf become an escape while you were in that world? Is that when you kind of started playing golf a lot?
Another good question. Oddly enough, as much as I love playing golf, I have never been one of those people that views golf as an escape or therapy or a release or any of that other shit. I just love playing golf. And you can ask any of my closest friends. I have broken as many or more golf clubs on a golf course than anyone you've ever met in your entire life. I have thrown the biggest temper tantrums on a golf course than anybody you've ever met in your entire life. So for me, it definitely is not therapy or any kind of an escape. It's just, I love being competitive. Like I tell people, I've been telling people this my whole life. I'm so competitive, I won't let my grandmother beat me in a board game. So the thing I love about golf is like the only person that you're competing with on any given round of golf is yourself. And you can go and like play golf with your buddies and be like, let's play golf against each other. But at the end of the day, like you're the one that has to deal with the fact that you just fucked that 3-foot putt up and missed it. And you have to you have to find a way to manage your emotions in that situation to go to the next hole. And that's the thing I love about golf. It's challenging and it's always tough.
Absolutely.
Take us back to the moment you quit. Was it planned or was it more emotional?
Good question. It was, all honesty, it was more emotional. I guess both times it was definitely more emotional. The second time was a little more planned and a little bit more thought out. The first time was like, go fuck yourself, I'm out of here. And I have to be completely fair to the company that I worked for. A lot of that emotion was caused by things that I wasn't doing well enough in my own role. Like if I had been better at my job and I had been a better person to those around me within my job, I wouldn't have been in the situation that I was in. So I 100% own that. It's not like the company did me dirty and it was like all their fault. Like I have to take responsibility for the stuff that I messed up on and all the things that were my shortcomings and all the things that I didn't do well. But when you're in that position and you have that own self-hatred going on and you have that own, that embarrassment for yourself going on, and then you also have some idiot telling you the same shit over and over and over again and not giving you any kind of help or guidance, you just get to a point where you're like, go fuck yourself, I'm out of here.
Did the freedom ever turn into fear or uncertainty?
100% uncertainty the entire time. The only thing I was certain about was that I was going to go play golf wherever I wanted to. But other than that, like 1,000% uncertainty. Like I had no idea what was going to happen. Fear, no, like never any fear, because again, I go back to incredibly supportive wife. She had my back for better or for worse, whether she wanted to or not, she did. And then I always knew that I could always go back to work in a job in corporate America. So like there was never a reason for me to be afraid. Now I credit 100% of that to when I left my first job. I mean, imagine you work for a business for fucking 16 years, your entire adult life. It's the only thing that you know. There's nothing scarier than walking away from that and trying to find something else to go do when you've never even considered having to look for another job your entire adult life. And having survived that scenario and having made it through that scenario on the other end, much happier and much more satisfied with who I was and where I was at, it made the decision to do the taking a year off to go play golf so much easier because there was no more fear at that point. It was 100% the knowledge of I've already gone through this and I know that I'll find another job if I have.
All right, real quick. What course during your little 12-month freedom tour, what golf course was your favorite one to play?
God, man, I hate this question so much.
Yeah, you knew it was coming.
I hate this question so much. It's so tough. Dude, that's tough. I would say that I can't just pick one, man. I can't just pick one.
Is there a favorite state? Like what state do you think has the best golf?
Again, dude, it's so tough, dude. All right, here are the golf courses that I've been able to play. 2 different golf courses on property at St. Andrews. I've played Tobacco Road in North Carolina. I've played Harbor Town multiple times. I've played the stadium course, TPC Scottsdale, a dozen times. I've played every golf course at Pebble Beach. So I've played Pebble Beach, Spyglass, Spanish Bay. I've played the par 3 course at Pebble Beach. I have played Royal Dornoch in Scotland. At the time, it was the number 2 ranked golf course in the entire world. I've played TPC Sawgrass now, the stadium course. Like the courses that I've been fortunate to play golf at are some of the most phenomenal golf courses. There's a golf course in the Dominican Republic called Punta Espada. It's a Jack Nicklaus designed golf course. It's right along the Caribbean Ocean. one of the most epic golf courses I've ever played in my entire life. They only run one tee time every hour. You're the only one on the golf course. You never see anyone in front of you. You never see anybody behind you. It was just me playing golf by myself with a caddy and my wife hanging out with me. And I remember making a putt on a green that's on the ocean in the Caribbean with the most crystal clear, amazing blue water you've ever seen in your life. And I'm taking a picture with my wife on the green. And when I turn around, a groundskeeper had chopped a fresh coconut off a palm tree and hacked it open and given it to my wife so she could have like fresh coconut water. Like where am I kind of feeling?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Surreal. Yeah.
So for me to pick like one golf course that was like my favorite, it's just so tough because I have so many favorites. But I will say the one golf course that I mean, I've played Purcell Farms down in Alabama. I've played RTJ
I want to go
courses in
there.
Alabama.
Yeah, that one's
like,
sick.
That's on my bucket list.
I'll say this, the number one golf course that I think it's absolutely realistic for people to go play this. It's not so expensive that you couldn't afford it, but it's a hidden gem, is Tobacco Road. Like if you ever have an opportunity to go play Tobacco Road, it is literally one of the most special properties I've ever stepped foot on. It's a golf course that's built inside of an old sand quarry where they used to harvest sand for like construction projects and other things, right?
Yeah.
So the entire golf course has sand everywhere, but all of them are waste bunkers. There are no actual bunkers on this golf course. So anytime you're in the sand, you can ground your club and there's no stroke penalty. You can drive a golf cart into the sand in certain holes. Like it is literally one of the coolest golf courses that I've ever experienced in my life. And I think it's only like 300 or 350 bucks for the rounds. It's an expensive golf course to go to, but it's not 950 bucks like Sawgrass, you know?
They did a video or was featured in a video with a pretty popular golf channel. They're local to Nashville here. You're in Nashville. They're local to us here, but you were in a Divot Dudes video. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that and how that went that day? You hit a 275-yard drive, I believe, after saying that you could hit it 260.
And I hit that so bad out of the heel too. It's just, this is not a good tee shot whatsoever. It's funny, that video clip, if you watch that, you only see me hit a tee shot or like a driver shot off a tee twice in that whole video. Those are the only two swings that I took at golf balls off a tee. I didn't take any more. So like the first one was absolute miss hit. The second one was closer to the center of the face, but it was out of the heel and it definitely had like a massive fade on it or like a little bit of a slice on it. And then the third one that I hit was the dod out of the grass. And what you can't see in the video is how thick that grass is. I mean, that grass was like halfway up that golf ball. Like the ball was sitting down. It was almost like hitting out of the primary cut of rough, basically, instead of hitting out of a nice fairway. And when you hear Connor in the background, he's like, when he says that he's shocked and he's like, I can't believe that ball got off the ground. That is a genuine reaction to that golf shot, because if you'd have seen the lie that I was hitting that thing out of, there was no way that this thing was ever going to get in the air. So they were absolutely shocked. But the whole reason that video even existed in the first place was because I had met them on that year of like taking time off and just doing social media stuff. And I don't remember exactly. I think the first time that I met them in person in Arizona during the Waste Management a couple years ago, I went to the Good Desert Open that they did a couple years ago. And those two guys were playing in the event, and I was just going out there to watch and like maybe get some like behind the scenes content and stuff. And, I ended up meeting them out there and I kind of talked to them, and then we stayed in touch from that point going forward. And they had asked if I could, last minute, they were like, hey, we need another person to hold a camera for us while we're filming this video. Would you mind coming and helping us? And I said, yeah, absolutely. I had no intentions of being in a video of theirs whatsoever. Like my whole focus for that day was to just go to the golf course and hold a camera for them and just help them get some video clips. And when I got there and they were on the range and they were doing, the guy that they were filming with, I think they may have done like the intro was like him hitting golf balls on the range. And then they asked him to go and like film the video. And they looked at me and they were like, hey, do you want to do the how far you carry your driver video with us while you're here? And I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely. And I told them that I could hit a dod. And I was like, it might be kind of funny, like if one of the shots that I hit is like a driver off the deck and I can kind of like call out CBA golf, like the Dod King. And they were like, oh yeah, that'd be sick. So like the beginning of that video, the beginning of that video was me practicing hitting dods off the ground just so that they could get the intro of like, oh, dude, look at this guy practicing dods. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
awesome.
I'd watched almost every single one of their how far do you hit your driver videos. And I know
Right.
that like, the longest drive I've ever hit in my life is 391 yards. So like
Jesus Christ.
I know I can carry the ball more than 275 yards. Well, so like I didn't want to be the asshole that gets on camera as like I can carry the ball 300 yards and then I hit one 260. So I told him 260 and it was funny. Like I said I could carry it 260 and Adam I think Adam either misheard me or he just didn't remember, but in the video he says, you can hit it 265. And then that's when Connor's like, well, wait, did he say 260 or 265? And I was like, either way, I don't give a shit. Like I can cover 265. Like I'll hit that if you want me to. I almost said in that moment, I'll go 275 if you want me to. Like I don't give a crap. But yeah, it's so funny that I've been playing golf at that particular golf course for the last like 15 years. And the way that driving range is set up at the far end of the driving range, there's this like big berm. And then there's a 2-lane highway that like people drive their cars on. And if you can hit the ball far enough, you can actually get it to that road, but you have to carry it like over 300 yards.
How does someone actually become a full-time caddy?
That is a grind. If you just want to be a caddy at a country club, or if you just want to be a caddy at like a local golf course, that's pretty easy. There's a company called Caddy Master that provides caddies to private clubs or like local public clubs all over the country. So, if you really want to be that type of caddy, we call them like club caddies. That's the best place to start because you can literally get put at any golf course in the country if you get on with them, right? Other than that, like if you just wanted to be a caddy at like a local country club, if there was a golf course that was near you guys that had a caddy program, just reach out to the caddy master at the golf course and ask if they're hiring caddies and just be like, hey, dude, I've got golf experience. Like, can I come be a caddy for you guys for the summer? And almost every single club out there is always looking for caddies. So it's actually pretty easy in that regard. And if it's a good caddy program at a good course, they'll have like a little bit of an introductory training process that they'll put you through that might be a day or two where they just kind of show you the ropes and they tell you how they like things done and all that kind of stuff. And then from that point, it just comes down to what kind of personality that you have with people on the golf course. As far as being a professional caddy on like a pro golf tour, that is significantly harder and that is a grind. Like it's purely a numbers game. It's like trying to sell pest control to people at their house and having to knock on doors. Like you just have to reach out to as many people as you could possibly reach out to and hope that somebody says, yes, come help me out.
Gotcha. What's the hardest part of caddying that fans never get to see?
Oh my gosh, dude, that's such a good question. I don't have this problem so much anymore because I've been doing it for long enough now that I've kind of gotten over it. But I'd say the one thing that fans would never understand, never experience, and never get to see is the nerves and the anxiety of being the guy standing right next to your player when they're hitting a golf shot. And knowing how important each golf shot is and knowing that you are 100% not in control of the result of said golf shot. Like, I remember the first tournament that I ever caddied for James Liao. I talked about him on one of my clips here recently on my social media. It's first stage of Q school, massively important event for this guy. I had never caddied for a professional golfer before, and we're standing on the first tee, and I am damn near shaking because I am so freaking nervous about whether or not his tee shot is going to land in the fairway. It is nerve-wracking, dude. And then
Did
like
it land
the first
in the
time,
fairway?
yeah, it did. And then like
That's
the
good.
first time that you get the first time that they have a birdie look and they're putting for a birdie and you just have to stand there and watch it happen. Like I don't have kids, but I think the best way that I could explain that is if you had a kid that was playing basketball and they had to shoot a free throw to win the game. As a parent, like you'd probably be a nervous wreck that you just want this shot to go in for them and you don't want to watch if it misses. You know what I mean?
Oh, I get that. I have twin girls who are 6. Okay. And we practice all the time. Okay. So my little girl, my other one's a cheerleader. She don't really want to do the sports, whatever, but Adley, we practice and she crushes. Okay. She can hit a softball far. We get in a game and she is so like her anxiety is so high that she just swings as soon as it's released and trying to get her to like, I'm like, baby girl, just wait on the ball. Like we do it all the time at home. And she's like, nah, fuck it. I'm running to the dugout. Like, I want her so much just to hit the ball in a game and run to first base. Hasn't happened in 3 years, but we're still going to try. You've worked 14 Corn Ferry events last year. What is the lifestyle really like there?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I guess it's kind of like any other job that you have if you have to work on the road. You're away from home for an entire week. I think the longest stretch that I had last year was 6 weeks away from home straight. We
Damn.
had like 6 straight tournaments, and
Yeah, that's rough.
I wasn't home for 6 weeks, and that started to really wear on my wife, and she was starting to get really lonely. So she definitely does not like me being gone for more than 4 weeks at a time.
Yeah.
We've now learned that. But
Does she
yeah, I
ever,
mean,
not to cut you off, but does she ever come out? Do you ever bring her with you?
so she has when she can, yes, she will come out and watch me when I'm caddying for somebody. Last year she came to the Knoxville event, and then she came to the Simmons Bank Open event. But with her job, she also has to travel for her work every quarter. And so a lot of times her job and my job aren't lined up where it's possible for her to come out and watch. But she would every chance that she could if it was available.
Yeah.
But like to continue to answer that question though, it's a lot of hotel rooms, a lot of Airbnbs. Last year was my first year on the Corn Ferry Tour caddying. I ended up being alone a lot. Like I would get hotel rooms for myself, Airbnbs for myself. I didn't have a big enough network of people that were other caddies out there that I could reach out to share the expense of splitting an Airbnb or getting a hotel room and like sharing a space with other people. So I think there were only 3 times last year out of 14 weeks where I was able to actually share a hotel or an Airbnb with other people to kind of cut down on that expense. This year, I've already started out like I've got at least one person that I've been able to already coordinate shared housing for like the first 6 tournaments. So it's been really nice to like have that built up network now where I can actually like reach out to a few different people and be like, hey, like for example, in a couple weeks, February 1st, I'm going to be flying to Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'll be on the road for 2 weeks. So I'm going to fly to Argentina. We have a tournament there that week. And then when that tournament ends on Sunday, that Sunday night, I'm getting on an airplane from Argentina to Santiago, Chile. It's like a 2.5 hour plane ride. And then I'll be down in Chile for another week. And then when that tournament ends on Sunday, I've got a flight home from Santiago back to Nashville. And I have 2 guys that are going to split housing with me. So I booked an Airbnb in Argentina for the 3 of us. And then I booked an Airbnb in Santiago for the 3 of us. And I think we have enough space where like we might even be able to get 1 or 2 more people in each of those homes. So if people need some, place last minute, there's more people in a house, but it also makes it a lot less expensive for all of us. So it's just constantly like going, right? Like, I mentioned earlier, I'll get to a place the Sunday before the tournament starts. So like the thing that we have to pay attention to is when you're flying to South America from the United States, all the flights from here are going to leave on an evening, and then it's a 10-hour plane ride to get to where you're going. And so you don't show up to the next country until the next day. So if I want to be in Argentina on a Sunday, I actually have to leave on Saturday night so that I can arrive on Sunday morning, and then I'll be there on Sunday, and then I can be ready to be at the golf course on Monday morning.
Real quick, want to give another shout out to Swing City for having us out. Just to show off a little bit of the food, we just got a soft pretzel delivered in here. This thing looks amazing. So if y'all are watching that, get you a bite. But y'all come check out Swing City, Bowling Green, Kentucky, best simulator in the city for sure. I wanted to ask you this, and I didn't have this wrote down, but I am very curious about it. And you don't have to go into a ton of detail. I'm just kind of wondering how this works. So you're talking about renting the hotel, renting the Airbnb, things like that. I know like in the Bahamas, you were like up in the air about kind of having somebody to work with. And then at the same time, the person might not make the cut. You might only work with them for 1 or 2 days rather than 4. How does that work? Are you paying for all this stuff out of your pocket? Are you losing money sometimes taking this or chasing this dream?
Yeah, I mean, that's 100% a possibility for sure. All the travel that I've booked to this point, as far as like places to stay, I've booked that travel on my credit card. And then anybody that's been like splitting those places with me, they're just like paying me back basically, or like giving me their share. You know, if I had spent 2 weeks in the Bahamas and never been hired by anybody, then I would have just been spending 2 weeks in the Bahamas and I would have been paying for everything out of my pocket. And it would have been an expense and there would have been no income. The first week that I was in the Bahamas that happened, I wasn't able to get hired to work for anybody. And so, I mean, I basically paid to go on vacation in Nassau, Bahamas for a week. There are worse places to not have a job, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. No doubt. I was just kind of curious how that worked. What would you say is the biggest misconception about the Corn Ferry Tour golf or Corn Ferry Tour golf in general?
That the guys that are playing golf on the Corn Ferry Tour are not as good as the guys playing on the PGA Tour. I think that's the biggest misconception. And I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers by saying this, but I actually truly believe that the talent pool on the Corn Ferry Tour is deeper than the talent pool on the PGA Tour. I think it is significantly more difficult to win a golf tournament on the Corn Ferry Tour right now than it is to win on the PGA Tour, in my opinion. You hear it all the time. Like, people say this about the PGA Tour, like any one of these guys in the field can win on any given Sunday, right? Like, you hear that all the time. They talk about it on CBS. They talk about it on Golf Channel. Like, every commentator is like, anyone in the field could win. I'm not trying to be an asshole and I'm not trying to be arrogant. And I'm never going to say never. Like, yes, technically speaking, anybody in the field could win. But if we're being 100% realistic, dude, there's like maybe 20 dudes on the PGA Tour that can win a tournament any week. And that's it. Like, and there's no hate to anybody playing on the PGA Tour, but like, I'm sorry, man. Like, if you're playing against Scotty Scheffler any given week, if you're playing against Justin Rose the way that he's playing golf right now,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I mean,
you're
as
playing
we're
against
filming this, he's 22 under.
dude, like, you know, you're playing against freaking Adam Scott and Jason Day and like Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa when he's playing good. Like, you're playing against these dudes. You really think anyone's going to win that week? Like, no, dude. But, and this might sound contradictory because I'm saying that it's harder to win on the Corn Ferry Tour. But if there was ever a scenario where that phrase rang true, where anybody in the field could win this week, it is absolutely on the Corn Ferry Tour. Like, you have 156 dudes in that field, and absolutely any one of those 156 guys could absolutely win that tournament.
Why chase this dream now instead of earlier in your life?
Dude, because I didn't know it was a reality earlier in my life. I had no clue like that this was really something that I could have done. Man, it's like, I don't live with regrets and I don't ever want to like go back and relive my life. But if some Freaky Friday shit happens and I get a chance to go back to being a kid, I'm absolutely going to be a caddy from a younger age. It's so freaking cool, man. And it is way more realistic of an option for people than you realize. And if I had known anytime sooner in my life, I would have absolutely done this way sooner.
All right, we do this with every guest that we bring on. It's called Rapid Fire from the Bunker. I'm going to ask you a series of rapid fire questions. Just give me the quick answer that comes to mind. First one is favorite course that you worked.
Favorite courses I've worked is PGA Riviera Maya in Tulum, Mexico. Got to work that last year. That place is unreal.
Sounds awesome. Toughest golfer personality-wise.
Toughest golfer personality to work with? I've been really fortunate. I haven't worked for anybody that's super difficult, but I'd say if I ever worked with somebody that was like verbally abusive towards me because they weren't playing well, like that'd probably be like a no-go for me.
What's one thing a regular golfer misunderstands about the tour golf?
Regular thing that guys don't understand about the tour golf, how much fun these guys have every single week when they're on the golf course, especially during practice rounds.
Best advice you've ever received?
Wow. Most recently, probably a putting tip that I got. I caddied for a player named Charles Hunsinger. He had conditional status on Corn Ferry last year. And towards the end of last year, he had played his way into the DP World Tour Q School Finals just outside Barcelona, Spain. And he flew me out to Spain to go caddy for him for like 10 days. One of the days we were just practicing on the putting green. He was doing some drills. He was working on stuff. And we'd been practicing all day. And it just got to a point where I wanted him to have a little bit of fun. And I thought it would be cool if we did a putting contest between me and him, because one of the things that he was working on was like reading different breaks on his putts. And even though he'd gone through all his drills, I thought it might be a fun thing to like go around the putting green so that we would be giving him all different types of reads that he would have to work his way through, knowing full well that I'm going to get my ass absolutely handed to me because I'm trying to like have a putting contest with a professional golfer. But he gave me a putting tip that day. And the very next time that I had an opportunity to go play was at TPC Sawgrass. And I literally had one of the absolute best putting rounds of my entire life, to the point where the guys that were in my group that I was playing with, like random strangers, were like, dude, you're the most incredible putter we've ever played with. Like, you're putting lights out. And I was like, I've never heard that before. So it was a putting tip from Charles Hunsinger. Shout out, Charles.
That's awesome. One thing you'd tell your 25-year-old self.
One thing I would tell my 25-year-old self, just don't be afraid of change. If you're unhappy with what you're doing, find something else to do. Everything's going to work out. It's going to be fine.
Love that. Love that. You're officially out of the bunker, man. I got a couple closing questions for you. For someone listening who feels stuck, they're stuck in their job, they're scared to take that leap. What's one thing that you'd let them know?
I'd say the easy way to say this is the grass is not always greener on the other side of the hill, but there is probably grass on the other side of the hill. So like if you're unhappy with what you're doing, you can always go back to it if you had to. Just get yourself out of the bad situation, try something else. And if that doesn't work out, you have the experience with what it is that you're doing right now that you can always go back to it later if you have.
I love that. I love that. Man, it's been an absolute epic episode. We'll definitely have to get you on again for a part 2, because I'd love to just dive into the stories and that sort of thing too. But it's been absolutely awesome to have you on. All of Ryan's links to his socials, where you can follow his journey and see what he does week to week, will be down in the bio wherever you're getting this podcast. So y'all make sure to go check him out, along with our new co-host, Mr. Craig Smith, Breaking 80 Golf. All of his stuff will be down and below. From the Bunker stuff will be down below. My stuff will be down below. Guys, we appreciate all the support. We will see you next Tuesday at 7 a.m. yet again for episode 17. But this was number 16 with the professional caddy, Ryan Murray. We appreciate you coming on, and we will see y'all next time.